Hello, my camel friends. You're back again. So soon. At least it feels soon. Nothing wrong with that, of course. I'm just surprised. Let's see. You are the fire element, I believe. Let's see if I got that right. Yes, I did. Emotional regulation or dysregulation. All right. Camel, resourceful, independent, knows one's self. And as I already mentioned, emotional regulation. The camel can handle absolutely anything, as it carries a wealth of nourishment within. This wondrous creature is self-reliant and handles challenge with ease. Even in the face of excess heat, judgment, or anger, the camel searches inside for the cool elixir of water to calm the situation. The camel represents the ultimate form of bringing opposites into balance, fire and water. So yes, you are a fire creature, but the water aspect of it is strongest in you. And being responsible for one's own reactions. That's the emotional regulation I was talking about. The camel is a wonderful traveler and is especially fond of trips to faraway lands. When in balance, calm, content, sparkle in the eye. When out of balance, dehydrated, lacks vitality, and also emotional regulation. To bring into balance, a pilgrimage. I am hearing a pilgrimage to the self. You don't always have to go somewhere to find something, especially when it's something that's inside you. All right. So let's take a look at your tea leaf cards. First of all, we have coins, which seems promising. Money will be coming to you. However, we have teardrops, great personal sorrow. So that's a bit of both there. Then we have April and dog barking. So something about the month of April is significant to you. It could be something that is going to happen, could be something that has happened, it could be something that happens every April, like a birthday or anniversary or something. Or you may have gotten some advice from a friend in the month of April. I hope it was good advice. This doesn't tell me. All right, then we have fly, a period of ill health, depression, and inkpot, problems to be resolved. So, definitely a mixed bag here. Let's see what the tarot has to say about why you are here. Okay, those came out really fast. We have Nine of Cups. Hopefully that is it's in the upright. But we have Nine of Cups, we have Death, and the Five of Swords, both in the uncertainty position, so neither upright nor reversed. Many people resist death. I'm not talking about physical death. I'm talking about death as a transition from one state to another. In the sense that people like to put, this card is interesting because it has fish. No, not a fish. An amphibian. Perhaps an axolotl. Some sort of amphibian that moves from a more fish-like state to having legs and feet. So many people like to put butterflies or caterpillars or something like that on the death card, because it shows that when you move from one state to another, you make a significant change like that, the old has to die. The old you dissolves so that you can become the new you. And that can be quite disruptive to your life. And many people fear it a great deal, understandably. We also have the Five of Swords here, which suggests that some self-sabotaging habits are perhaps still holding on to you a bit, which may be implied by the Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups can have a very powerful energy about wishes granted. So really very positive. But it can also refer to a tendency to overindulge, which would tie in with the Five of Swords here. So you may have had some success in getting some control over your self-sabotaging habits, whatever they may be, but this suggests they are still around. They have not completely been resolved yet, and it may take this level of transformation to get to full resolution. Although if we're talking about addictions, that's generally, as I understand it, I'm not an addiction expert, but as I understand it, that is a lifelong commitment. All right. Let's see what else. Ace of Swords in reverse. So feeling blocked, not knowing what to do, a lack of clarity, hoping for insight, epiphany, but instead we get the Devil. So again, a reference to overindulging, debauchery, bad habits, vices, addictions, delusions, and illusions. The illusion, probably the biggest one, being that you are bound when in fact you are not. In some way, you have the freedom to move ahead. Perhaps the insight is simply waiting for you to acknowledge it. You are definitely being called to become more, to see yourself differently, to allow yourself to be different. You have 3 major arcana cards out of 6. That's a lot. I did once sit down and figure out probabilities for different card spreads and how often you should be getting, or how many, if it were purely chance, how many major arcana cards would you get in a reading, depending on how many cards you pulled. And I'll tell you right now, 50% is way over the limit. I think it's something like 22%. So maybe 2 cards. It should be less than 2 cards, but you have 3. So you definitely are struggling with some, well, probably emotional issues, honestly, with the Camel being here. Emotional regulation is a big theme for the Camel. And it may be that is your lesson right now, to learn how to regulate your emotions so that your fire is not always in control. You need to stock up on your water so that you can calm yourself down, cool down. These are lessons that can be very difficult to learn, especially if you weren't taught them as a child, which is when it should have started. Anything else? Oh, interesting. I'm not sure what to make of that. So the Empress has an understanding that they are not in control. There is a natural flow to things, a natural order, and learning to understand that order, to strengthen that order, can actually be helpful because it provides a framework, a stability. And by understanding that order, it is easier for you to work with it. So a a lot of people like to see the Empress as so, kind and nurturing and fertile, but the Empress is in touch with all of the nature. And then Empress is in touch with the natural order of things, which means, yes, there's a time for fertility. There's also a time for death, a time for harvesting, a time for rejoicing, a time for relaxing, a time to be receptive, and a time to be active. And a whole bunch of other things that I didn't list because I don't want to spend that much time on it. But if you think of the natural order of the seasons and what happens in the seasons, then you'll have an understanding of the Empress. So yes, there is a need to work with grief. Having the Three of Swords in reverse here suggests that that work has not been done. And the Empress is here to remind you that loss is part of life. You can't have life without death. And working your way through the mourning, the stages of mourning, the cycle of grief, will only help you. Denying it, and you did have that card of sorrow, so there may be something really significant there. But denying it is not going to work, not in the long run. If you want to be this camel who is capable of self-regulation, who can go far distances, then you're going to have to work through this. Unresolved grief is not something you want to carry around. We also have the Hermit here. So when I see the Hermit in reverse, a lot of times I think it's somebody who's been hiding away instead of finding their inner light and coming out and being a beacon for others. And that may be the case. But right now I'm also thinking that it's someone who is refusing to go within and find their inner light, particularly with this Three of Swords card here in reverse. So I'm getting somebody who is refusing to deal with their grief, refusing to accept the natural cycles of life, and refusing to go within and deal with this reality. So all right. And I say this to you as someone who has dealt with significant loss. And in point of fact, I am not good at dealing with grief. So I can definitely sympathize. I suppose it's also possible that, no, I don't think so, but possible, maybe, that you are wallowing in your grief, perhaps, instead of moving through it, having the strength to move through it, to accept it. All right. Now then, let's see what else you need to know. You are being shaped. So when metal is hammered on the anvil, it is shaped, yes. It is also strengthened. I am reminded of, sorry about that, the legendary katana that was folded and beaten 1,000 times, 1,000 folds, 1,000 beatings, to produce an impossibly strong and flexible blade. That is what is happening to you. You are being tempered, shaped, strengthened. Your resilience is increasing, your flexibility is increasing, and your strength is increasing. but it is not increasing because you're sitting around having an easy life. It's increasing because of the challenges that you are having to deal with that you can't escape. And yet, we have red flag. What do you need to be warned about? What is this red flag? So you are in a tangled up situation, definitely not a healthy one, something you should definitely be being cautious about. There's a risk here. There's proceed with caution. Complicated circumstances. What are we dealing with here? Well, you need to build your inner confidence, your inner knowing, your inner guidance. So your intuition, your instincts. Again, we have a reference to resilience. I think you need to trust yourself. Trust what your inner knowing is telling you. And success will be possible. So your circumstances are not resolved, shall we say? Not cleared up. Whatever is going on, it's still a bit hazardous. There is a need for problem solving. It's interesting, you have problem solving landing on top of the tangled up yarn. Oh, well. You also got twin flames. Okay. So, first of all, I hate that term. The reason I hate the term twin flames is that it is wildly misleading, in my opinion, because it is so romantic and inaccurate. Okay. You're not twins. You're two separate people. You have separate paths, separate lessons. Yes, you came together and taught each other some things, catalyzed some things for each other, activated your heart chakras, started a rebalancing process, an awakening. So this is a catalytic experience, but it is not a romantic experience. And you should not be thinking of anyone else as your other half, because you are whole, okay? You've always been whole. You need to rediscover that. Okay. So this is about healing. It's funny how that landed, isn't it? Yes, you got the moon card. So, shadow work, intuition, diving into your depths, dealing with your stuff. Ish. Dealing with your ish. How do you want to put it? It's there, it's real, you need to deal with it. You need to develop the parts of yourself that have been underdeveloped and balance out the parts of yourself that have perhaps been overdeveloped or overused. We have male, man, male, whatever. You or the person on your mind. That, you know, if that's helpful to you, great. But it seems that right now, your main focus is on the 3D, on your resources, providing for yourself, providing for your family, perhaps. It can be a lot to try and deal with this. this stage of self-development, growth, and holding down a job and taking care of a family if you have a family. All the while dealing with these very strong emotions and learning to grow beyond them, learning to put them in perspective. And yet, there will be development, maturity. You are learning to act from the heart, to be heart-centered, courageous. This is true leadership. I disagree with the image of a lion here, but if you think of the cowardly lion, then yes, that's a much better lion to think about, honestly. Because all this recent information on true leadership indicates very strongly that you need to be heart-centered. Yes, you need self-esteem and inner strength and confidence, but you also need to be a good listener. You need to be sensitive to others, compassionate towards others as well as yourself, and have respect for and consideration for others. These are all important leadership qualities. And you have the potential for all of them. It looks like you may be moving into a career that takes advantage of all of this. Or perhaps that's just what you're hoping for. Solutions, intelligent, insight, genius, clarity, breakout, pay attention. That's interesting. You have pay attention. And mice, illness, fatigue. You may be feeling very tired right now. It's going to be quite a process. And it is part of this experience, this soul connection experience can be sleeplessness. You need to get past that. You need to see the enjoyment in life, to be present again, to lift out of negativity. Opening your heart chakra is very, it's a wonderful experience. And yes, it will, when you have your heart chakra open, but you also need to have appropriate boundaries, healthy boundaries, then you will be able to enjoy life a lot more. So the fox. Now this can be healthy self-interest. The fox has a reputation for being sly and cunning, which is deserved, but they are also very faithful to their partners. They are very monogamous. They share the responsibilities of raising their young, and while there may be something off, it may simply be, or not so simply, be about learning to take care of yourself. With this standing up for truth card, passion, justice, freedom, revolution, courage. Another card calling you to have courage. There is a lot of darkness in the soul connection experience, but you keep going, keep doing the work, Try not to wallow. If you just want to sit around and wallow in your feelings, that's not progress. That's not going to get you anywhere. Foxes are extremely good at getting into and out of places that everyone thinks they should not be able to. There we go. Going places. You will move through this. It may be difficult. It may feel impossible at times. I really need to work with this card, develop a new meaning for it. It may feel like you're stuck in something you really can't get out of. The energetics of the soul connection experience can be overwhelming, and so emotions and energy are very closely tied together. So even if your mind is saying, I don't want this, this is ridiculous, why do I feel this way? If you are energetically sensitive, you may be feeling the other person's energy as well, and it may feel like you're swimming in a sea of it, an ocean of it all the time, which means you need to develop your boundaries energetically and emotionally. You can get out of that and find the sweet life. You are going places to the sweet life. It will work out. Try not to hold things up by wallowing. I know there's a certain amount you can't avoid, but the one thing I would say is don't fight it. So when I say don't wallow in it, I mean don't dive into it and sort of decide that's where you're comfortable and that's where you want to stay. So what you have to do is say, okay, I feel this. It's not always going to be this way. Things will change. So accept it and go back to your life, living your best life. All right. I think this is an archetype kind of reading, so let's finish it off with that. Hopefully 3 cards. Let's see what we get. Huh, this is interesting. I think the stone came out for yesterday's reading, and it is here for you as well. The crone, the storm, and the stone. The crone, number 13. The witch, the old woman, the sage. The crone has seen it all. Nothing frightens or surprises her. She is the final manifestation in the feminine trifecta of Mother, Maiden, Crone. In her long life, she's witnessed endless cycles of death, sex, failure, rebirth, conflict, and regeneration, giving her the ability to rise above the world of duality. She laughs at the notion of good or bad, right or wrong, as she has seen the earth churning, smoldering, taking life, and giving life. The crone energy accepts everything in, devouring beauty and suffering with the same mouth, using their energy to reveal hidden secrets and knowledge. Her energy resides in all of us, though it is feared by most for its power and unconventional relationship with death and the macabre. Awakening the crone is dangerously rich and unapologetically magic. When light, magic, clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive, wise. When dark, vindictive, bitter, isolated, ostracized. There's a crow on there too. The crone has a difficult time tolerating superficial, petty, day-to-day musings. She moves away from such relationships and seeks a deeper path, even if this means a more solitary life. Perhaps that's where you're at. The crone is the master of letting go and residing in what is. She rejects nothing. The crone is often seen with the crow, smoke, night, and the moon. There's a smoke card. All right. And then we have the storm. So, 47. Let's see what it has to say. I looked at the fault line, which is pretty similar looking, honestly. Here we go. The storm. The chaos, the whirlwind, the disorder. Possessing an energy much like the Tarot's tarot card, the storm undoes all that is. Everything that was solid, known, and relied upon, is stripped away by the winds of fate. The ground becomes the sky becomes the center, and then the center disappears. The storm is a great equalizer. No matter how far we've come on the path, no matter our age, wealth, or wisdom, we can't hide from its savage winds. Their disturbing howls stir anxiety and make it impossible to see and think straight. You must wait it out. If you try to fight the storm, you will lose. A better option is to seek temporary shelter and a reliable friend. When all else fails, go within. There, for a moment, you settle into the eye of the storm. That is excellent advice for anyone in the soul connection experience, or having the soul connection experience. That's probably exactly how you feel or have felt. It'll get better. Just don't try to fight it. When light, meaningful obliteration and annihilation. Meaningful obliteration and annihilation. Oh, okay. When dark, meaningless disorder and dysfunction. The storm's intention is to rebalance your equilibrium. It is a result of precarious conditions, not the cause of them. Yeah, we tend to blame the tower experiences, tower moments, storms, whatever, we tend to blame them for the destruction they cause, but they're just a reflection of the conditions that already existed and needed to be fixed. So they aren't to be blamed. They're just meant to be survived. The storm lays bare the truth that there are forces larger than you. This understanding is a relief, but also a predicament of power that requires your surrender. And then finally, now that we've established that you desperately need something to ground you, to hang on to in the midst of this storm, we have the stone, which is 67. The eternal, the anchor, the rock. As an archetypal object, the stone holds psychic and literal weight. Its energy is one of permanence, concreteness, and reliability. The stone's ability to transform is nearly imperceptible to us, as it changes ever so slowly over countless human lifespans. A single stone may see thousands of generations come and go, therefore it contains an ancient and eternal presence. The stone is best used to anchor our wild side, so no matter how far we roam, we can always find our way back. The stone tethers us to earth, helping to ground and connect us to stillness, quiet, and peace. That is your goal, to find stillness, quiet, and peace. It may seem like an impossible one, but you can do it. When this card appears, it is likely the stone is a remedy for what ails us. Humble and easily unnoticed, the power of the stone balances the frenzy of our world. And perhaps the storm that you are currently going through, or recently gone through, about to go through, something like that. When light, steadfast, loyal, committed, present. When dark, weighted down, holding back, cold. Build a cairn in nature. Find inspiration in Andy Goldsworthy's stone egg forms. In Jewish mourning traditions, stones are left at graves rather than flowers. Sit with this vision for a moment and see what unfolds. Perhaps that may be especially relevant for you as you had the sorrow card. I am wishing you all the best. Lots of grounding in the midst of your storm. Till next time.